Royals dropped a tough series against the Houston Astros, 2 1-run games. Now they head back home. They got the Cardinals coming in this weekend, a big weekend to celebrate, and hopefully some winning baseball coming soon. We'll talk about all that right now live on One Royal Way. Back at it here on Kansas City Sports Network. I'm Joel Penfield. Thank you all so much for tuning in. If you're watching this live, I appreciate it. Hanging out here on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe on YouTube if you are watching this and you haven't already. Be sure to subscribe on all audio platforms as well. Hit those notification bells on all platforms so you know when these episodes go up. If you weren't able to catch it live, but Sunday night and Thursday night, 8:30 Central, go over the games from the previous days and preview the weekend. That's usually the Thursday episode. Only one game with the off day coming today for the Royals, the first in the month of May that they've had. First game, I think they played 16 straight games since their last off day, or it could be even more. So much needed. They come back home for 3 against the St. Louis Cardinals this weekend. So still, and this is the weekend they're celebrating the 1985 World Series, 40th anniversary of that, poetically against the Cardinals. And then the 10th anniversary of the 2015 team on Saturday. So you do get out to the ballpark either of those days, you're going to see a pretty cool celebration for both of those teams. Well-deserved, obviously, 2 of the best teams in franchise history, the 2 best teams in franchise history. They both won World Series. Before we get into this team, the 2025 team, and the game on Wednesday, the show, as always, brought to you by Emprise Bank. Member FDIC, our partners in Possible here at Kansas City Sports Network, and we can't thank them enough for that support at the network and on this show. I poured a little bourbon a little early tonight, so bear with me, guys. I appreciate it. Cheers if you're having a good time with me. Tough one on Wednesday. The Royals drop it 4-3. They had a lead early in this one, brought to you by Michael Garcia. Hit a ball onto the train tracks there in Houston, or damn near it, or pretty close to it. But again, kind of that thing that we've talked about with Michael all year, pulling the ball in the air with efficiency, and it leads to more hits. He had 2 hits in this game and two RBIs to go along with it. And broke out of a little bit of a slump there. Seems like he was getting a little too pull happy in a couple of those at bats. Dating back to the Red Sox series, seems like he's coming out of it. The OPS is still like 36, so he's still having a really good year. Been probably the second best hitter on this team, pretty definitively so far. More scoring in the second. Jonathan India hit a double. It was one of the hard hit balls, one of the few hard hit balls he's really had this year. A lot of singles from him, but he scores at a 2-out RBI. He had 6 hits in this series. Got the OPS up to 660, considering where it was, at the beginning of the month and in the middle of April. It's slowly been climbing. So it seems like he's starting to get rolling a little bit, and we've seen what the offense can be when he's got it going a little bit. Like they did on Monday, score 7 runs, he has 3 hits. When he's able to be a true table setter, it sets up everybody else on this offense. They get one to the Astros get one back in the 4th. Isaac Paredes, another duck hook ball into the Crawford boxes. It's just what he does. He did that in Tampa, just duck hook homers. That's all we're going to do. And, he's in a very friendly park to do that in Houston. So that's where that comes from. Michael comes up, gets a double. It's 3-1. Jeremy Pena doubles and makes it 3-2 in the 6th. A bloop double from Mauricio Dubon in the 8th. Is that ends up tying the game, and Jeremy Pena, who had a great game, 4 for 4 in that game with 2 RBIs, gives them the go-ahead run in the 8th. Josh Hader closes it down in the 9th, and that's your ball game. So let's dive in a little bit further. I do want to spend some time on Michael Lorenzen. I thought he pitched pretty well in this game. He obviously, he gets into the 8th. He was at 77 pitches after 7, with the way the bullpen had been used. Over the course of this stretch where they haven't had an off day, I don't blame them for trying to get the 8th. It was the bottom of the order that he was facing in the 8th inning. And I'll go pitch by pitch here, batter by batter to go into it. I apologize, guys. Being live sometimes, this is just the way it goes. So it was 7, 8, 9 coming up in the 8th inning. So that's a reason why, that could be, one factor as to why he comes into for the 8th. If he was, at the top, maybe they decide, hey, we're going to go to Estevez. We'll go to Ursig for a third straight day because the pitch count's low, whatever the case. But he gets a ground ball, and then DeZenzo with a liner, and then a bloop double by Dubon, and that's it. You couldn't throw anything by Jeremy Pena in this game. It was a fastball up and in that he just got the barrel to, and it was a 97-mile-an-hour fastball up and in and out of the strike zone. He's got the barrel on it. I mean, it was a good pitch, good hit, and that's the way it crumbles sometimes. It's frustrating that it happened to go that way because he felt like that he had done well enough and Lorenzen had pitched well enough to earn a win, and unfortunately he's saddled with a loss. The total line for him, 7 1/3, 4 earned, 1 walk, and 5 strikeouts. He gave up the home run to Paredes. But he still was able to see. He was able to get 6 whiffs. He didn't get it. It was not near as effective for him as the game against the Astros. Kind of mixed up the arsenal a little bit. Very fastball changeup heavy in that start against the Red Sox. But in this game, fastball slider heavy, worked in the changeup and curveball, and the other pitches he's able to throw. But a lot of fastball slider in this game, and it had been fairly effective for him. But not a ton of strikeouts, not a ton of whiffs, kind of a normal start that we see from him. And this is where you get to times seen through the order. It was the full third time through the order for the Astros. And then Pena comes up, and that would have been 4th time through. When you look at times through the order, and this is where I talk about just get Lorenzen into the 5th. Don't let him see a 3rd time and send it to the bullpen. First time through the order this season, the opponents are slashing 192, 222, 321. So he's got it going early on in the game. 19 strikeouts to 3 walks first time through. Second time through, slashing 288, 358, 479. So they're getting more hits, but they're not slugging a ton. So that's, you see him a second time, and 12 strikeouts to 8 walks that second time through. Third time through, and it's only a 13-inning sample, seeing guys a third time. But the slash is 269, 328, 596, a near 600 slugging percentage. And of the 22 earned runs that he's given up this season total, 10 of them have come in that third time through the order. Of the 9 home runs he's given up this year, 4 of them came third time through. So this may be where they have to make the decision. Maybe we can sneak him at a couple batters in, but we need somebody warming to go. So if you want to quibble about that aspect, I understand that. But again, he had been pitching well. The pitch count was low. Bottom of the order. I understand the rationale and why they tried to sneak the 8th in there. It didn't work. And those things happen sometimes. This was also a situation where you're on the back end of 16 games, 16 days. You had used Schreiber 3 days in a row, which I didn't realize. I'd forgotten that he had pitched on Sunday in Houston. Ursig had gone back-to-back days with an up-down the previous day, going an inning and 2/3. Cruz had gone the day before, but he really didn't pitch that well. Estevez, you really didn't want to try and use until the 9th, but they brought him in the 8th because he was the best high leverage guy available. Maybe you could have gone to Lynch, but again, I don't quibble with a lot of these decisions because guys need to go out there and do the job. This one was more of leaving the starter in too long, but it's not like they left him in to face Pena lead off. It just happened to get there, and it didn't even get there. They took him out after the Dubon double, and then there's an inherited runner. Estevez makes a good pitch. Pena makes a better swing. I don't put this game on the pitching staff in any way. You had plenty of chances for this offense. This one falls at the feet of the offense. Another game, 2 for 10 with runners in scoring position, 9 left on, including the bases loaded early on in the game when they had Colton Gordon, who was making his major league debut, on the ropes. He had just walked Bobby. Bases are loaded. He had walked India. He was 2-0 on Bobby. They intentionally walk him. It's bases loaded for Vinny, and he swings in the first pitch, taps it to the second baseman, and they get out of the inning when they could have thrown up more in that second I think it was the third inning. It's frustrating. And then you had Bobby hits a triple in the first inning. You got a runner on third with 1 out, and Vinny grounds out. First pitch back to the pitcher, can't advance the runner, and then Salvi gets called out on strikes. And Salvi's been bad since the hip injury back in Tampa. I'll get that slash line now that I'm thinking about it. I didn't. Chris Palmer asks, is Gavin Cross a temporary answer to the offensive issues? Absolutely not. I don't know if you've seen Gavin Cross's numbers in Double-A. I had high expectations because of some of what we saw at the end of last year. But right now, Gavin Cross is slashing 177, 221, 277 with a 33% strikeout rate. That's good for a 38 weighted runs created plus. As of right now, that guy is not a big leaguer, and not even like a platoon big leaguer. He just has not been good. So I don't see the path for him. Like, honestly, your temporary fix at best at AAA, like at AAA is like John Ray, but he's not on the 40-man roster. The hope is that Jac Caglianone can be that, but he's still in Double-A, tearing it up. And I don't know at what point they decide to send him to AAA, but there are not a lot of internal options right now. This is kind of what we're working with until they're able to make a move or two in June or July ahead of the trade deadline to try and improve. But there's just not a lot there, and that's part of the concern here. Like, I think very highly of what Jonathan India can be, and he's starting to get going, but it's still not enough right now. Vinny, I am lost because every time I think he's about to get on a heater, he has a terrible game. And he has not been the same hitter with runners in scoring position that he was last year. He was almost automatic. Runner on third, he's getting him in. Runner on second, less than 2 outs, he's getting him in. He has not been that at all. He's hitting like 208 with runners in scoring position. And I don't even think that counts the 2 at-bats that he swung at the first pitch last night. Salvi is just scuffling, and some of it is you can attribute to he's slashing 182, 213, 227 since he came back from the hip injury in Baltimore. It's a concern. And you have a 35, 36-year-old catcher that still wants to go out there every day, and God bless him, but the OPS is sub 600 right now. Is this him being hurt, or is this just the aging curve has caught up that he fought off for so many years? Michael has been great. But outside of that, like Mark Canha has not been the same since coming off the injured list. Hunter Renfroe, the OPS is 452. Yeah, he hit a double the other night, and like that's great. But I don't know. Drew Waters, he's hitting 273, but there's not a lot of power. And Fermin's a backup catcher. Like we can all love Freddie Fermin, and I do. I think he's a great player. I think he's a solid player, but he's not someone you can really ask to be an answer. Michael Massey hasn't really taken that step. He had a great game the other day, but really he's still trying to catch up from being the worst qualified hitter in all of baseball through the first month and a half of the season. So they're going to have to figure something out. What that figure it out is, I don't know, because Bobby is still going to be great. Like, we know that. But he's not going to get pitched to a lot because who else in the lineup can you trust right now that's in behind him? Like, is the solution right now maybe let Michael hit third, move Vinny down? But then that puts pressure on Michael when we saw what he did at the top of the order last year when he was the worst qualified hitter in all of baseball. It's a really tricky spot that this team is sitting in right now. The pitching is amazing and has been all year. We're just in a situation where they kind of are what they are, and they're going to have to work around it until they can make improvements to the roster mid-season. And maybe that improvement is an injection of Jac Caglianone, but that's a rookie. That's an unknown thing. How aggressive are they willing to be at the trade deadline? Who is off limits outside of Jac? If it were me, anyone outside of Jac is available if you're willing to part with your player so we can improve this roster. Because right now, Minnesota's hot. Detroit is not going away. Cleveland is not going away. You're going to have to keep up with the Joneses here. And with this offense being as inconsistent as it is, I don't know how they're going to do it. It's incredibly frustrating because they have the talent. It's not being put together right now. The guys that should have an impact outside of Bobby have not really had much impact this year. And that impact is felt in a negative way because they're not producing like they were last year when this was a borderline top 10 offense. It's nowhere been close to that this year. We'll see how they figure it out. But they're gonna have to sort through some stuff. And this game is kind of emblematic of that. And if you want to take it, a step further, why that game ends up the way it is, you have to rely on Lorenzen to go because the offense went dormant on Monday. They put up 7 in the first 3 innings, and that's awesome, but they only put up 7. Like, they put up 7 and then kind of threw it in neutral. And if you want to throw some of the blame pie on Stephen Cruz, I'm willing to listen to that. But there's no, you had to throw Ursig and Estevez in a game you're up 7-0. You could have put them away. And the offense kind of threw it in neutral and just left it be and allowed Houston to come back when they could have buried them, won 12-2. And then we're having a very different conversation because Ursig can come in and be a fireman there because he would have not had to throw on Monday. It would have been a back-to-back for him, which is fine. He can do that. He can throw the 8th, Estevez for the 9th. You win a game 3-2 or 4-2, whatever the case, and you win a series, happy flight back. Now you got a flight where it's like, man, St. Louis is playing pretty good ball right now. The Royals are going to have to step up. Nick, I'm sorry I rambled way too long on that game. I apologize. We do need to take a quick break, and we'll be right back. We'll talk about the St. Louis series, and we'll get on out of here. Be right back.
Shop Chiefs tickets and more with no fees. Plus, save big with code KCSN at ticketsforless.com, the official ticket provider of KC Sports Network.
Success in real estate takes more than vision. It takes the right financial partner. When someone takes something rundown and turns it into something great, that's called a comeback story, like Brain Group. They take distressed properties here in KC, completely rework them, and then turn them into valuable real estate. But that kind of work needs the right bank behind it. Enter Emprise Bank. They're not about cookie-cutter loans. They saw Brain Group's vision, backed them, and now they're making big moves in Kansas City real estate. Talk about your partner in possible. Emprise doesn't do one-size-fits-all financing. They invest in potential and back growth. Visit emprisebank.com/KC to learn more. Emprise Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
It's playoff time, and if you're still just watching games, then you're missing out. With Pick 6 from DraftKings, you can turn your hoops knowledge into real cash. Just make your picks, track your score, and if you hit all 6, you're looking at bigger payouts than Prize Picks flex plays. Nobody's dropping better payouts than Pick 6. Hit 6 picks, and that's 25 times your cash. And if you beat your competitor, you could be looking at a 500 times bag in your pocket. And right now, new customers get $50 in bonus picks with just a $5 entry. The playoffs are on, so why not take a shot at making a little money while you're watching? Download the DraftKings Pick 6 app right now and use code KCSN. That's code KCSN to play $5 and get $50 in bonus picks. Better payouts, bigger wins, only on Pick 6 from DraftKings. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org in Connecticut. Must be 18 plus. Age and eligibility restrictions vary by jurisdiction. Pick 6 not available everywhere, including New York and Ontario. Void where prohibited. One per new customer. Bonus awarded as non-withdrawable Pick 6 bonus picks that expire in 14 days. Limited time offer. Terms at pick6.draftkings.com/promos.
Be sure to hit that like button and subscribe button if you're hanging out here on YouTube. I appreciate it, and be sure you're subscribed on all audio platforms. The Cardinals are coming into town this weekend, and they're playing really good baseball. They've won 9 of their last 10. The run differential is up to +31. They're second in the NL Central, right neck and neck with the Chicago Cubs. I I mean, this is gonna be a really tough series. Let me get those pitching matchups here. I had it pulled up and then I clicked away. I'm all out of sorts tonight, guys. I apologize. Last couple episodes I have not been on my A game. It is going to be Cole Reagans on the mound on Friday. Andres Palante is going to be on the mound for the St. Louis Cardinals. He's got a 4.3. Andre Palante, not Andres. 4.36 ERA in 43 and a third, only 28 strikeouts. So a guy that's going to make you put the ball in play. The Royals need to make him pay for that and not let him get into a groove, work some counts. Don't give him a bunch of early outs. That's going to be the key there. Saturday, Seth Lugo against Miles Michaelis, 2-2 with a 4.35 ERA coming in there for him. And then on Sunday, the day game, Michael Wacha is going to be on the mound for Kansas City, and Matthew Liberatore, who is kind of had a bit of a resurgence at the beginning of this season after kind of struggling his first couple of years in the big leagues. 3-3 with a 3.11 ERA. The Royals should be able to take two here. I mean, you got your top three pitchers on the mound. They need to take two. Get back on track a little bit. Stay in the race with the Tigers and the Twins and the Guards. But it's going to take this offense finding a way to. It's going to take this offense finding a way to break out and have a game like they did on Monday. Frenzy hit a little bit. It's going to take a Michael Massey perhaps just having a game, or Kyle Isbell coming through. Someone to take some pressure off of Bobby Witt Jr. And I don't know how many pitches Bobby's going to see. Vinny's kind of back scuffling a little bit, with runners in scoring position. Salvi, we'll see what he's able to provide. But a lot of this is going to come down to, how much are they going to be able to give these starting pitchers? They can be able to give them a 5-run lead at any point, or even a 2-run lead. We'll see. It's going to be really tricky. And I'm not going to try and wish cast too much because we're 45 games in at the quarter pole of the year. You kind of know what some of these teams are. And right now this team is going to be led by their pitching, and that's okay, but it can't be the only thing you do well. And the defense has obviously been better as of late, but it can't be the only thing. They have to find ways to score offensively and put runners, they can put runners on. They do a good job of that. They got to drive them in too. And I know that sounds basic and super simple, but sometimes it is as simple as that. Like Occam's razor, the most logical explanation is the simplest one. Get them on, get them over, get them in. HUD says it on every freaking broadcast. Sometimes you just have to take it down to the basics, and we'll see. Maybe having the off day, getting back home to their own beds, kind of gives them a reset. Being around the 2015 and the 1985 championship teams for a weekend, hey, that does something, and that's something you really can't quantify. But I can imagine being around two World Series teams for a weekend is got to be like, all right, hey, we got to go out and show out for them. We can't disappoint these guys. These guys are legends in this town. 1 through 25 on all those rosters. So we'll see. You feel good with Cole Reagans on the mound. You feel good with Seth Lugo, and you feel good with Michael Wacha. It's the nice thing about having this pitching staff is, despite the offensive struggles, I still feel like they're going to have an opportunity to go out and win a series because the pitching is going to keep them in it. And the nice thing, if you want to have a glass half full element of Michael Lorenzen getting into the eighth, everybody's pretty fresh. It saved the bullpen for a day. Estevez had to go 2/3, but he didn't throw a lot of pitches. And with the day of rest, if they need him tomorrow on Friday, then he'll be available. Daniel Lynch will be available. Angel Serpa will be available. Lucas Erceg. Everyone should be ready to go, despite a little bit of a heavy workload in some spots during that 16 consecutive game stretch. But you come back home, you're going to have an opportunity to go and win some games. And this is as good opportunity as it's going to be. You got a team that's hot, coming into this. Take it from them. And we'll see how they come out on the other side of it. I don't really have anything else planned. If anybody listening has any questions, feel free to fill them out in the chat right now. I'll go through a couple minor league things as I'm looking into it. Jac Caglianone hit a double tonight. He's staying red hot there in Northwest Arkansas. I don't know how much longer he's going to stay there. I don't think there's much reason for him to. Another guy that I've been intrigued by, and I'm glad is getting that opportunity. In affiliated ball was David Shields. He was the Royals, I believe he was second-round pick last year. Prep lefty. It's barely just turned 18 years old. He was 17 when he was drafted. So he's a young guy going to affiliated ball. If you're concerned about the velo, I mean, the guy's 18, not fully filled out yet, but he was like 89 to 91, which was exactly what Frank Mazzucato was when he went to affiliated ball. The difference is when I watch this guy, the field of pitch is above average for his age. The feel for spin on his secondaries. He had the slider work and the changeup. There's obviously some things he needs to work through, but just one start, I was like, oh, they have something here. Now I want to see him throw a little harder than 91, but he's got time. He's 18 years old. He's probably going to end up going back to Columbia next year at 19. He's able to put on a little bit of muscle, get rid of some of the baby fat a little bit, and gain some big boy muscle in a full off-season program. He's a guy to watch, and it's tough when the guy is so far away and he's so young, but could be a name to watch here moving forward. Oh, by the way, Jac Caglianone has 2 hits tonight and a walk. Is hitting 329 with a 972 OPS. I think the weighted runs created plus is around 165, 170. Yeah, I don't know how much longer the dude needs to be in AA. He should play this series and then get to Omaha. Like, he needs to be in Omaha. I don't see the path for it at this point. It looks like there's only a couple of people in here, but hey, I appreciate anybody that came in here to hang out. If there is no questions, I appreciate it. If we can do like a mailbag of some sort here soon, of either questions that are live in the chat or in Discord, Twitter, send them to me when we have a little bit of time. At the next time the Royals have an off day, I think the next 3 Thursdays there is an off day. So send me your questions, and I think next week I probably will have some time, do 3 or 4 after I do the Wednesday game recap, and we'll go from there. But I appreciate everybody hanging out. Toast game tonight. It's kind of tough when it's only one game and they lost. You know what? I'll toast game Jac Caglianone. You know what? Why not? Hopefully he goes to Omaha here soon. Before we get out of here, David Reed, Salvi need an IL stint. David Reed asked, does Salvi need an IL stint? Hasn't looked right since the injury. I talked about that earlier. The slash is not pretty. It's 182, 213, 227 since he took a couple days off. But at this point, and friend of the show, former co-host Josh Kaiser said it, and I completely agreed. So I didn't do too much with it, but he said if Salvi is hurt and the Royals won't or they can't put him on the IL, it kills that spot in the lineup, and he does mean a lot to this lineup despite the struggles. That would mean they have to continue to roster Luke Maile, who is fine, but mostly just in there for his defense. But that means that they can't roster somebody else that is like a second option hitting wise or a runner, which then prevents them from adding like a Nick Lofton or a Cam Devaney who's actually hitting well, or a pinch runner like a Tyler Tolbert or a Dairon Blanco. So the roster construction part of it is the really tricky part if Salvi's going to go on the injury list. It would probably require a secondary move, like they decide maybe it's time to cut bait with Hunter Renfroe. They let that go, and then that opens up that spot where you can still have Maile as the second catcher with Freddie Fermin, but then have a Nick Lofton or a Tyler Tolbert, or they decide if with the DFA they decide to throw Cam Devaney on the 40, something like that. But it gets really it's a tricky spot, and Salvi's so tough and so stubborn, God bless him, that I don't know if he's going to want to go on the injured list. Like, he's probably going to say, I'm fine, I can play. But at what point does it become a detriment to the team? And we're kind of getting to that point because some of the at-bats lately have not been pretty at all. And you can tell he's still banged up and playing through it. And, I mean, he's one of the toughest SOBs I've ever seen put on a baseball uniform. But then the Royals might need to save him from himself if this goes for another weekend and he's really struggling. They're going to need to do something about it. But we'll see. I appreciate everybody hanging out that was here on YouTube. Appreciate everybody on the audio side as well that listens to this. And we will talk on Sunday night. We will be live on YouTube at 8:30 Central. We'll recap the Cardinals series, preview the next, and we'll move on from there. The Royals are going to head on the road to San Francisco for the next series. It's going to be a late series, man. Oh, God, that's West Coast, 8:45 Central Time start. Oh, boy. Nick, I apologize in advance for the Tuesday night that we're going to be up real late for that one. That's going to be tough. But I will talk to you guys soon. Take care, everybody. If you're out at the ballpark, enjoy it this week. Enjoy the nice weather, and we'll talk soon. Take care, everybody.